If we had told you last season that the Catalan club would be leading La Liga at this point in the season, you would have probably assumed it was Barcelona. But guess what? It's not. Believe it or not, it's Girona who currently holds the top spot in the La Liga table. At the beginning of the season, everyone thought it was just a temporary thing, and that either Real Madrid or Barcelona would reclaim the top positions. However, a third of the league games have already been played, and Girona is still at the top. Will they win the league? Who knows? But right now, finishing in the top 4 seems very likely for them. However, there's a club in England that hopes Girona doesn't achieve that. And that club is Manchester City. Wait, what? What does the European champions and treble winners have to do with a small club having a fairy tale season in Spain? Well, join us today and we'll explain how Girona's success could potentially kick Manchester City out of the Champions League. It may sound crazy, considering Girona isn't even in the Champions League at the moment, but we're talking about the 2024-25 season here. Manchester City is safe for this season, but their participation in the Champions League next season is seriously in jeopardy. Let us tell you why. Both Girona and Manchester City are owned by the same company, City Football Group Limited. They own 100% of Manchester City and 47% of Girona. They also have ownership stakes in other clubs like French club Trua, MLS club New York City, Australian club Melbourne City, and Italian clubs among others. So basically they are a highly successful holding company with interests in various clubs. Quite impressive for a company that was founded just a decade ago. But that's not the main point right now. Here's the real issue. If this club, owned by the same company, manages to qualify for the Champions League next season, it could spell trouble for the defending champions. Why? It's because of a rule that UEFA implemented a while ago. The rule states that no one can have control or decisive influence over more than one club in a UEFA club competition. So, if City Football Group continues to have decisive influence over both Man City and Girona, they cannot play in the UEFA Champions League in the same season. Now, you might be wondering about RB Salzburg and RB Leipzig. These two Red Bull clubs were able to qualify for the Champions League in the 2017-18 season, even though Salzburg didn't make it past the playoffs. The reason is that UEFA examined the operational structures of the clubs and found that Salzburg was independent from Red Bull to a suitable extent. Red Bull ceased to have a controlling stake in Salzburg and only operated as sponsors. City Football Group could do something similar to avoid their clubs getting expelled from the competition. Since they only own 47% of Girona, if Girona qualifies for the Champions League, the board members affiliated with City Football Group would need to step down. The collaboration between the City Football Group and Girona would need to come to an end. They wouldn't be able to have any joint business agreements or utilize any shared player database or scouting resources. The most significant restriction would be the prohibition on transferring players between Girona and the other clubs owned by the City Football Group until September of the following year. In this case, that would mean until September 2025. But let's imagine a scenario where both clubs qualify for the Champions League and City Football Group refuses to comply with these regulations. What would happen then? Well, in that case, UEFA would prioritize the club that becomes champions, and the other club would be excluded. This is precisely why we say that Girona's success could potentially result in Manchester City being kicked out of the Champions League. Girona has held the top spot in La Liga for a longer period than City has in the Premier League this season. So, if Girona continues to perform exceptionally well, while Manchester City fails to secure their 4th consecutive Premier League title, Girona would take precedence over them in the 2024-25 Champions League. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? However, we can be pretty confident that City Football Group wouldn't just sit back and allow their most successful club to be ousted from the Champions League. They would surely take action to prevent it. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. If we're being realistic, we can confidently say that City has already secured qualification for the 2024-25 Champions League. That's just how exceptional and dominant Pep's team has become. On the other hand, Girona still has a lot of work to do in La Liga to secure their spot in the Champions League. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Athletic Club, and Real Sociedad possess more quality and experience than Girona and could potentially push them out of the top 4. What do you guys think? Can Girona finish in the top 4? Let us know in the comments. I'll catch you in the next video. Till then, bye.